welcome to another episode of the Mixtape Matinee Podcast. I'm your host, Cole.
And I'm Court.
And today we have my lovely wife, Tabitha, back on the podcast.
Woo!
Hello.
Hey, Tabby, welcome back. This episode's going to be releasing on Tabitha's birthday, so we want to say happy birthday to you, Tabitha.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to me.
Everyone go out and message Tabitha and tell her happy birthday.
Cool.
So since it's the month of November, we decided, I think we had talked about it last year, we wanted to do Noir November. So this episode were two film noir movies, and we invited Tabitha to come on. And Tabitha, do you want to talk about the movie that you decided to pick for this episode?
So I picked Born to Kill from 1947.
Sam, take that knife away. What did I do? I was out here tonight for you.
You were in Helen's room for me, too, I suppose.
I was, Sam. I was trying to save you trouble, that's all.
In her room?
It wasn't like it looked. It wasn't, I swear, Sam.
Wasn't it?
Sam, take that knife away so I can talk to you. I knew you'd listen to me, Sam. Here's how it was, Sam. Oh, you're crazy, Sam.
It has been in my Letterboxd watch list for a while. And so I decided that might be a good one to watch. It has an interesting kind of premise where there's like a female lead and a lot of the story ends up revolving around her, which I think is really different, especially for an older movie from the 40s. But it's about this woman, this divorcee who is engaged to this guy, and then she kind of ends up getting involved with this other man who's kind of, I don't know, what would you say? Like, I don't know. He's just kind of weird, I guess.
Oh, you're talking about the guy that... Yeah.
He's described as an homme fatale.
Oh,
which is
the opposite of a femme fatale.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, she kind of falls for this other homme fatale, as Court mentioned. And it's kind of this, like, I don't know, it's this interesting story. I don't want to give too much away. I won't give too much away. But there's also like a murder in it. So you have this whole kind of tangle of things going on as well.
Yeah, I mean, the interesting thing about that guy, so the character's name is Sam Wilde, and he's played by Lawrence, how do you pronounce it, Tierney?
Yeah, I think Tierney.
Which is funny, because when we were watching it, I realized that it's the guy from Reservoir Dogs, and then I just kept thinking about that line in the movie where he's talking about, "Yo, Mr. Pink, you can't pick your own names," and I just realized that, and it's cool to see, him in this role when he's younger. But his character, like at the beginning of the movie, is like I feel like way more interesting than her character, and then as it goes on, it kind of flips. At least that's how it was for me, because he's such this violent guy that just gets set off, and then also he's like a little kid. He like pouts a lot in the movie. He gets annoyed at just the dumbest things. So it's kind of funny because the main character, her name's Helen Brent, but yeah, throughout the movie she's attracted to her fiance because of the money, but then she's also attracted to this Sam Wilde because he's crazy and passionate, and
he's evil.
I think it's
He's a
more
bad boy.
complicated than that, because she says at one point that the reason why she is with her fiance is because he keeps her from basically going over the edge, because she knows her true nature is...
Which is similar to Sam's true nature. Yeah, and that's why it is interesting.
Yeah, like it keeps her from becoming the truly like depraved person that she knows she's capable of being. Also, like, I don't feel like this is too much of a spoiler since it happens like at the beginning of the movie. The homme fatale, Sam Wilde, is that his name?
Yeah.
He... we know pretty much from out the gate that he is a murderer. And so that is in the back of your minds the whole time that you're watching it, obviously. And it's very clear that Helen Brent is attracted to his sociopathy. Like, wouldn't you agree? Like,
Yeah,
she's kind
like
of attracted to his.
how like violent, or like even maybe not even violent, but just how like untamed. I guess.
Well, and like there's a part where she's talking about like what, because she's talking to him and he's basically like, why are you even with her fiance? And Fred, I think is his name.
Oh yeah, Fred.
And she says like what I said, like basically he keeps her from becoming truly like depraved or whatever. And he's stability and all this stuff. And she talks about financial security and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But then he says something like, well, what if you were with me? Like, what would I give you? And she says, or what am I to you? And she says, your strength and excitement and depravity. And as she's saying it, it's like she likes that.
She's getting excited, yeah.
And like, there's these moments where they're both like talking back and forth about like murders, and they're both like getting amped up on it. Like they're both like
Getting excited about it.
yeah, which a lot of people back then were like surprised that this got past the censors.
Oh really?
Yeah, well, I was reading, and when right before it came out, so the actor that plays Sam Wilde, Lawrence, he had a history of kind of being a bad boy even in real life. So he had problems with alcohol and stuff. And so right before this movie came out, he actually got into kind of like a domestic type of thing where he got drunk and got violent with someone. And
With like his partner.
I don't think it was with a partner. It was somebody, just I think a random person like at a bar. And
Oh yeah, he was known as getting drunk and getting in brawls.
yeah, so he got in a fight with someone. It was some random person, but the newspapers like picked that up, and then like a couple states, like I know for like one instance it said Ohio specifically. So they basically tried to get this movie banned, and it was banned in a few states because of this. And then they were like, see, this is a violent movie. And then they heard like about what the movie was about. And so because of that stunt, it got kind of, a couple states weren't able to show this film, which I thought was kind of interesting.
Yeah, it got banned. And then it was also banned from a re-release, a theatrical re-release, because it bombed at the box office. It ended
Which is
up,
crazy because you watch this movie now and it's like, it's so good.
Yeah.
And it's so different from the movies of that time because, I mean, we even said when we were watching it that it seemed like they did get away with a lot of things that you wouldn't think they would be able to get away with.
It was pretty panned by critics who for example, Bosley Crowther, who was a critic at the time, was appalled by the film, calling it a smeary tabloid fable, an hour and a half of ostentatious vice, and morally disgusting. He declared it reprehensible for its pandering to the lower levels of taste. And it was, like Cole said, banned in Ohio, but it was also banned in Chicago and Memphis. And RKO's own production head, Dory Schary, publicly distanced the studio from the film just days after its release. He condemned its arbitrary use of violence and vowed RKO would no longer produce gangster pictures like it. And then, like we said, it was a box office flop. It had a net loss of $243,000, and the MPAA barred it from theatrical reissue that December. This is something that I found also that adds to the kind of the film's like history. In 1948, there was this court case called the Howard Lane case, and it further blackened the film's reputation because it was used in the defense of a 12-year-old boy.
Who used a switch knife in like a murder.
And the lawyers argued that he did it after watching Born to Kill and that it triggered, quote, temporary insanity.
Oh,
that led him to kill another child.
dang.
That's like video games are making kids
Exactly.
violent. Yeah. that's
Yeah,
funny.
the judge in response called for new laws to censor violent films. So,
Yeah, so it seems like from the get-go, this movie had bad publicity around it, and yeah, doesn't help that they banned it in a couple states.
yeah. Interestingly, when I found out that Tabitha had chosen this film, I started to research into it. I didn't want to look into the plot because I wanted to, with
Experience it fresh.
yeah, but I looked into what critics had said, and I looked into the production of it, and I looked at its legacy. And one thing that I thought was interesting was director Guillermo del Toro has cited it as the primary influence on his 2021 film Nightmare Alley. And he even went on to say that the murders in Born to Kill remain shocking even in 2022.
Yeah, when we watched it, we were kind of aghast because it's crazy because you don't actually see these murders happen. It like cuts to the person that's, doing the murder, and then also the sound, like the sound that they use, like the Foley noises of, bodies.
For sure.
It's crazy, yeah.
The sound design is what made the murders more brutal for me because, you don't see anything. Plus, the way that the instrument that's used to do the murders is just like a blood object.
Yeah.
Tabitha, I know you and I talked about how one thing that drew you to this film was the fact that it had kind of a different take on a woman character in a film noir. And as I was researching it, that's another thing that people comment a lot about this film is how it presents a more nuanced take of the femme fatale. It's interesting that this movie has both a femme fatale and an homme fatale. But I was just curious, if you had any thoughts about her portrayal as because she's the main character, Helen Brent. And I know that was a big draw for you was.
Yeah, just that it was, which I only read the letterboxed summary. So I just thought it sounded like it might be interesting because it was, really there's not that many film noirs where it's so focused on a woman and not just in a strictly femme fatale way, I guess. Which is also interesting, I think, because Robert Weiss, the director, and I didn't realize this, he also did House on Telegraph Hill, which also has an interesting, it's another, would you say it's a film noir?
Yeah.
It's
definitely
kind
got
of a
that
film
vibe.
noir, yeah. But it's also this very centered around this female lead. And her story is she's pivotal to the plot in a different way than in this movie. But I think it's interesting that he did this movie, but he's also known for West Side Story and The Sound of Music. So it's kind of interesting that he did these, I think, earlier in his career. But I don't know. I thought it was interesting. So I didn't know very much going into it. But I thought it was interesting how, you have this really dynamic character, and it just starts off, I think it starts off kind of setting the stage where she walks in on the murder, and then she decides, you think she's going to call the police, but then she doesn't, and she leaves town. And so I think it kind of sets the stage for this person who maybe doesn't... she maybe isn't the most honest.
Yeah.
Or she doesn't care about justice or doing the right thing per se.
Yeah.
Because it's her friend was just murdered and she's oh, well, I better get out of here.
Yeah. She just
Before I
moves
get in
on.
trouble.
Yeah.
Which, so at the beginning of the movie, and I think I said this after we watched it, but Sam Wilde seemed like such a crazy character because he goes off the rails and he throws such a temper tantrum, and he's so he's so childish in a way. And then we're introduced to Helen's character a little bit, but yeah, I thought the movie was going to be more about Sam. But then as it goes on, it's like, oh, her character is way more interesting. And by the end of the film, it's like this is her, like she's like the main character in
Her
it.
character arc is
And
the story.
It's
Yeah.
cool because she flip flops so much.
Yeah.
And then it just makes her character so nuanced. And I bet this movie was really fun for her as an actress, because it wasn't like a normal like female role in the 40s. Like she could
Right.
actually spread her wings, so to say, like actress wise, and like really show her chops and stuff, which I think she did a really good job. I think this movie wouldn't be as good as it is like without her and her
agree.
acting ability.
I guess in her later years, she had been in so many films that they kind of blurred together, like the making of them, but she always retained like a very lucid memory of Born to Kill.
Yeah.
And
I think she just makes the movie like she's awesome.
I have actually a different female character who's actually my favorite character in the film.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, she's played, I think, by, what's her name? Edith? Or no, what? I can't. I had the name.
Oh yeah, you're talking about was it Mrs. Kraft?
Yeah. I
Yeah,
think
you're
it
talking
was.
about
What's the actress?
Esther Howard.
Esther Howard, not
Yeah.
Edith. Esther Howard, who had a prolific career. I was reading about her career. She started out in theater and actually was on Broadway, had a pretty successful Broadway stint before moving to films. And she was in like, I think over 100 films. And she's known as a great character actress. And in this movie, she's like this kind of, she's like this person, she loves beer. She's kind of crass. But when her friend gets killed, she probably is old enough to be like this person's aunt. So you kind of feel like that's their relationship. But when her friend gets killed, she becomes determined to
find out who the killer
justice.
is.
Yeah. And there's this really awesome scene where she's being, like, I don't want to spoil too much, but where she is potentially going to be killed, but she is a fighter.
Yeah,
And-
she fights him.
yeah, and
Yeah, that scene is cool when she just
she
headbutts
freaking
him.
headbutts him in the
right
gut.
in the stomach.
I was like, yeah.
And you don't expect it, that's why it's so awesome. It's so
And-
cool.
Interestingly, Lawrence Tierney said that she was actually that she was the true star of the film, which I thought was
I mean, she definitely steals the show
Yeah.
anytime she's on screen, because her character is so wild and interesting to watch. Yeah, and her
Yeah.
dialogue.
one of the more powerful things in this film too is like when you have like 2 or 3 characters who give these like speeches to Helen Brent, and they're just like condemning what she's done and like who she is.
Oh
and it's
yeah,
And when we were watching it, all of us were like, because we watched it together, the 3 of us, we were all like, oh, and like, oh.
they
like,
keep calling her out. Like
Yeah.
each, well, not every character, but like a character will come on and then they'll have a dialogue and it's just like called out, and then the next, it like happens like right after another.
Yeah.
And so I think at that moment in the film, like she's being put on the spot,
Yeah.
and people are telling her like, this is how you're being, and
Yeah.
like being called out, and she doesn't really have a good response to any of the
Yeah.
things that they say.
And I think what was the name of the character that I said I really like? Mrs. Brandt or something?
Oh, it's Mrs. Kraft.
Kraft. Wow, I'm so bad with names. She says something like, "You're the coldest iceberg of a woman that I've ever known, and your insides are truly rotten," or something. And it's like, oh man. But anyway, I liked this film.
Yeah, I thought this film was really good. Like I said, the acting was awesome. The dialogue, like the screenplay, is amazing. Very back and forth, rat-a-tat-tat dialogue that's kind of snappy of this time.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I said before, Helen's character, by the end, she's just so interesting, and it's a very compelling story. And we were talking also, Court, at least you were kind of while we were watching it, but the inspector guy. Was it inspector basically the private eye guy?
Yeah.
You were reading some stuff about him that I thought was interesting.
Yeah. I read about his life. He was he was from Austria. He immigrated to the U.S., I think, in like 1930, something like that. And he had kind of a tragic life because his health really declined. And this pushed him into some quite severe depression, and he ended up taking his own life, which was sad to find out as I'm watching him, because he's pretty great in the movie, because he takes what would otherwise be just kind of like a plot device. Like, I feel like his character serves mostly as a plot device. He takes it and turns it into kind of a more interesting character, I feel like.
Yeah, I thought his character was really interesting. The actor's name's Walter Selzak.
Yeah.
I think is how you pronounce it.
Yeah.
But yeah, he basically plays the private eye character in the film. And then the other one that I wanted to shout out that's kind of a supporting actor is the actor's name is Elijah Cook Jr.
Yeah.
He basically plays Sam's buddy.
/ fixer.
Yeah, / fixer. And he's just in a lot of great films, and his character, he's a great character actor. And we were looking up some of the movies that he's been in, and he was in the Big Sleep episode that we talked about, like at the very beginning of the podcast. I remember we talked about him, but anytime I see him on screen, I just love what he does.
Yeah, he's in a lot of film noir, actually. Like, some people make a joke, like, some people say a movie is not film noir if it doesn't have a femme fatale, but I say it's not a film noir if it doesn't have Elisha
Cook Jr.
Cook Jr. Like, it's just kind of funny, but
I kind of wanted to talk about like more of because I thought it was interesting how, I mean, at the beginning, there's this scene where she talks about, she's like, yeah, what's her friend's name that's rich?
Oh, Georgina
Yeah.
Staples, played by Audrey Long.
Yeah, she makes like this comment about how awkward she feels because her sister is always paying for stuff. And she's like, oh, it's so awkward, and like I feel bad. And then I think part of what she says is she's like, that's why I need to like marry into money or something. And then there's also this comment from her fiance Fred where he's like, I think that rich people should marry people without money. That's how it should be, which is kind of interesting. But then later, you know, her sister is like, you're always taking my money. You always just see me basically as a bank. And so it's kind of this interesting little, I think, part at the beginning where it foreshadows or maybe even just reveals a little bit that like, oh, she really was just about money the whole time, even if she was trying to not appear that way, with, you know, her sister, and then how she chose her fiance, which in contrast to, what's his name, Sam Wilde, you know, he's interested in the same things, but he's not as cunning and he's not as, I think, strategic as she is. So I think that's interesting. And I think it's also interesting because you kind of have these two like fatale characters where usually it's the women who are like archetypal and very one-dimensional, but you have that swapped in this movie.
that is true. Because Sam is pretty much a one-dimensional.
Yeah, after he kills those characters, it's just kind of like, oh,
Yeah,
I'm mad.
He just gets angry and then tries killing people.
Yeah. Or
he
he's
kills
like,
all the
yeah.
people in it who die,
Or he
right?
just thinks,
Other than, well, never
Yeah.
mind, I don't want to spoil.
But,
or
yeah.
he's just entitled, like when he is like, I want to run the newspaper.
Oh, or also he'll just get, mainly it's like he just gets offended, or like he feels like he's being, like people are like, anytime someone like talks back to him, or like if he feels like someone's cutting in, no one cuts in on me, and that attitude, which that just goes back to what we were saying about Helen's character is just so nuanced and interesting, and the back and forth that she kind of goes, and then what her motivations are, and then her actions, and you're always like trying to figure her out, which is, it's also fun as a viewer, trying to figure out what is she going to do next.
Yeah, and you can kind of, because, and I was looking at some of the costumes of for her at the beginning. And there's like a lot in the beginning of it. She was wearing a lot more like gray or white. And then near the end, she has a lot more like black costuming as she kind of fully accepts her like bad self.
Yeah, she's a.
Which it's interesting. At one point, it almost looks like she's wearing like a priest's
Yeah, like this
collar.
I mean,
irony.
I thought that was that's.
Yeah. I'm like, that's
Yeah.
an interesting style.
Yeah, I said it
Yeah.
out. I was like, why is she dressed like a priest? It's kind of funny. After she just did this like crazy thing, but
Yeah,
Don't
but
wanna
I think
spoil
they
it, though.
also, which I don't know if you've heard about it. It's like this big. It was this big literary, like book that came out in I think '79. But it talks about how like women in a lot of literature are cast as like either like an angel or a mad woman who rebels, and so you kind of see that in this. Like her sister is definitely very angelic, and then she ends up being this rebellious mad woman. And I think that goes for both of the movies. Like in Gilda, you see that as well. But I think it's also interesting that all the like good people are the rich people who are like, yeah, I'm rich, but I don't really care about money. Like, okay, boo-hoo.
yeah. What was the rule that you mentioned while we were watching the film about like two women talking about?
Oh yeah,
What's-
it's like the best.
can you explain
the
that?
bed shell or
Or Bechtel.
but
Bechtel.
Oh, Bechtel. Yeah, but anyway, I think
I don't know if it passed, to be honest, because
think you
a
could
lot of the times they're
say-
talking about.
Can you guys explain it just so the audience
yeah,
knows what it is?
It's
What is it?
so two women talk in a movie, and it's not about a man, which I think. I don't know. I feel
A
like
lot
it
of
could
it was about
narrowly,
men.
it could narrowly pass for
Maybe.
some of them.
So is this just
Well, they have to talk for enough. It also has to be for enough time. Too.
Oh.
Like, it can't just be like
yeah.
one.
and is this
That's
is in any
true,
movie
yeah.
or just old movies?
No,
Any
any
movie.
movie. There's
So that
Very, very few movies.
yeah,
pass it.
yeah.
it's just because that's just how
Because it's so
people
male.
write that's-
Movies are so male centered.
and that's just how they write women talking about male characters.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think there's a few components to the Bechdel test, but that's like
That's the main
the
thing.
main one is like that the conversation in between two women.
Yeah, and the conversation in question that we were talking about, it's actually between Helen and then Mrs. Kraft, I believe.
Yeah,
is
I think that's when-
is when you made that comment. Okay, court found the actual definition.
Yeah, so the Bechdel test apparently has 3 criteria. It must have at least 2 women with names. Check. Definitely meets that criteria. They must have a conversation with each other. Check.
Okay.
And that conversation cannot be about a man.
And then is there a length on there?
It
Or
doesn't
just-
say the
Yeah.
one.
Just as probably as long as the scene.
So I don't know. I think it could. I don't know.
It's
pretty
definitely
close.
better than
Yeah.
like 90% of films that
Yeah.
you see. Yeah. Even today. Like, yeah.
Which, you know, I guess it's also interesting that a movie with all these like strong female characters, it's still, you know, about men in a way for a lot of it.
Well, yeah, if you look it up, I just looked it up. The person that wrote the screenplay was a woman. Her name was Eve Green. She wrote the screenplay for this. So shouts out Green Eve. I think she did a really good job.
Green Eve.
Eve Green. Sorry. Yeah.
Green.
She looks
Good
like
catch.
what?
But yeah, she basically this is actually based off a book called Deadlier Than the Male, which was a 1942 novel by James Gunn. So this movie was so good, I want to go read that
Not
now.
Marvel's James Gunn.
Not the same. Yeah, and I made that joke at the beginning of the
Actually,
movie.
he's been writing for a long time.
He's actually
And when this movie came out in the UK, it was titled Lady of Descent, and then in Australia, it was Deadlier Than a Male. So the name of the book.
I don't know. I think
kinda
the book
interesting.
name is kind of dumb.
I agree.
Kind
I
of
think-
dumb.
yeah,
Born to
Born to
Kill is a
Kill.
cool one. Yeah, there's a cool one.
Yeah.
The studio
Lady of
forced
Des-
them to do that name, the Born to Kill name.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Even though, yeah.
Looks cool on the poster.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was the right choice. The director, Weiss, wanted it to be Deadlier Than the Male.
Well, he got his wish in Australia.
Yes. he did it. I wanted to talk about one thing about Robert Weiss with this one. So at this point, his earlier films had mostly been like B films, And then he'd worked not as a director, but as a collaborator on different like well-known films. So he edited, prior to this film, he had edited Orson Welles' Citizen Kane.
Oh, sweet. I didn't know
And
that.
then worked in Val Lewton's Horror Unit, which was famously atmospheric. And so critics say this like unique pedigree that he had made him a very interesting, like the right tool for the job is what the critics said for
Like he was a well-rounded director.
to make this kind of a film. Yeah. So I thought,
Which that makes sense since he's making film noir like this and then going on to making musicals like what Tabitha said.
Yeah, it is kind of.
So
it's crazy. Like he made this and then Sound of Music.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I guess you can kind of see like in the scene in Sound of Music where they're all hiding in like, do you know what part I'm talking about?
I haven't
And
seen
the
it in
and the
quite a
shadows
while.
are really like stark and stuff. You can kind of see it, I guess.
Yeah.
But
I don't think I remember that scene.
But I think it's-
I mean, that's a test of a great director is if they're able to do that. You know, be able to do two different things like that.
Yeah, but even like, because that has like House on Telegraph Hill also has like Holocaust and like World War II themes, even though it's like post World War II. So I wonder if he was like kind of interested in that as well, maybe.
Yeah, for sure. It seems like it, especially like. I feel like when he has more agency, it seems like his work focuses on it more. It seems like so.
Yeah. But I also thought it was interesting how, I mean, this movie seems to have a lot of things that were maybe unbecoming for a woman. Like you have a divorcee, you know, you have women like gambling and like,
Infidelity.
yeah, and then like a woman, well, even like you have a woman alcoholic.
That's true.
Oh yeah, with Mrs. Kraft.
Yeah.
And you have that
She's-
one woman who gets killed in the beginning who's basically, we learn, like a gold digger. Like
Yeah.
she basically goes from man to man until she gets the money. And then,
Yeah.
which did you guys catch that? And maybe I'm dumb. When she's describing the guy with broad shoulders this wide, she's talking about Sam.
Oh.
I didn't
is she?
connect that that's who she was
Oh,
talking
okay.
about until I read a thing
I
after.
can't remember if I did or not.
I don't think I thought about that. The one thing I did think about was when Sam and Helen start talking about the
Murders.
the murders, and then
They're basically
and then they
getting turned
and then
on.
they realize that they both know about
Yeah.
this same one, and then that's like, oh,
Yeah.
that
But
was
then
kind
she
of like a
doesn't
crazy-
even-
But then she doesn't do anything about it until later.
And then it seems like
Yeah.
she doesn't really connect that he did it
actually did it yeah.
until later, which I think
and
is
she
surprising.
goes to bat for him too. She literally
Yeah.
goes to the
Well,
private
she goes
eye.
to bat, and then she.
I guess we're spoiling the movie. We should have maybe put in a spoiler warning.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
There you go.
But then there's also times where she's helping him out. So.
Yeah.
But she goes to the detective and says, like, stop. Like, what can I do for you to stop
Yeah.
investigating this and not to go to the police? And the detective is like, give me $15,000, which back then, I mean, think about what
Yeah, it's a lot of
$15,000
money.
was. And then she, spoiler alert, intimidates the older woman,
Oh, Mrs. Kraft. Yeah.
Mrs. Kraft. She basically like, and this is another part where you see her kind of like sociopathic side, where she's
Yeah.
like, do you know what it's like to be killed, to have like metal go into your flesh? And like, she says all this stuff, and Mrs. Kraft's eyes are like huge.
She's traumatizing
yeah.
her.
And she's like, you will die if you go to the police.
Yeah. Which I think it's funny because she's like, you know, Sam is like, yeah, I'll get things done. I'll figure it
Oh,
out.
yeah.
And then, but then it's like, seems like the
He's
more
just
he does,
impulsive.
just like the dumber he is.
Yeah, and
then she's like, okay, well, actually, I'll figure it out and you'll see.
Yeah, she actually has like smarts,
Yeah.
and maybe that's why she's deadlier than the male.
Oh.
well,
Yeah,
definitely.
Well,
yeah.
she is much more conniving.
very,
And-
very much so.
And Sam just really, or even any of the other characters, just aren't like that.
Yeah, she also subverts the femme fatale trope in a few ways. Like throughout the film, she's pretty conservatively dressed. She literally says, "I don't usually smoke cigarettes." She never uses sexual deceit to lead the male protagonist into like darkness.
Yeah.
Instead, she is the one who is compromised by Sam.
Yeah.
The Homme Fatale. So kind of interesting.
And then how the movie ends, which I don't want to say how it ends, but
Well,
like
we can say spoiler.
but like that, like how it ends with her is interesting because it's something that you don't normally see either.
Yeah, I don't know. I wish it would have kind of gone the other way at the end.
Yeah.
You know, because it was like so. It was so close, but it was just.
Well, why don't we say spoiler alert? Because I really want to talk about this.
Okay, spoiler alert. Go watch it if you haven't.
Okay. The ending was pretty much prescribed by the code, the Hays Code.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't show somebody do all the stuff that she got away with
Yeah.
and then have them get off without a consequence. And so at the end, her having the consequence that she has, where she gets shot, is basically
By Sam.
like
Yeah.
like I'm like it kind of sucks because like the censors and stuff literally like enforced that kind
Yeah.
of stuff. Like
Yeah, and I get that. What I meant, when I was saying about, because normally you don't see like the main female character get
killed.
murdered like
yeah,
that.
I think
And but yeah, that makes sense with the code that they had to do that.
Yeah,
so.
I think it would have been much more dramatic if she just
Got away
did
with
get
it.
away with it.
Yeah.
And then it just seemed, but I guess it is kind of this like irony almost that, you know, he's the one that ends up killing her.
And she was told throughout the film, like, you got to watch out for this guy. He's like crazy. He'll just like kill you if you do something. And then she's like, oh, it's
Yeah.
okay. But then it was almost like, too, how I was thinking about it is like she wants her cake and she wants to eat it too.
Yeah.
Like she wants, like, because she keeps going back and forth between Sam and then her fiance. And then she ends up pretty much kind of like losing both of them and doesn't get anything that she even wanted. Like,
Right.
and so then, that makes it more of a tragic ending as well because she had the choice to go with either one of them, I guess, but then she was being deceitful and then boom, and she gets killed by.
Yeah.
But she was really deceitful the whole time.
No, she was. I'm just saying she
But-
just didn't. She wanted.
Yeah,
she
she
kept
didn't get
flip flopping,
away, yeah.
and that's why.
She couldn't have it both ways.
Yep. But she wanted to try to make
Yeah.
that work.
There's not really a single person in the film she doesn't ultimately betray in some way.
Yeah.
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 Like even like the side characters. If you think about it, like she betrays
Yeah, like the Private Eye, she definitely does, and then with Elisha
Yeah.
Cook Jr.
with the
does with her.
aunt, or I think of her as the aunt, with Mrs. Kraft,
Yeah.
with her own fiance. She literally is like trying to.
And then luckily the fiance like sees like who she really is and is like,
Yeah.
I'm out.
He gives one of the speeches that's
Yeah.
That like
and we're all like, oh,
Yeah, I think especially at the end, it was just like boom, boom, boom.
it was
You know, there
satisfying
was, like-
actually because
yeah,
it
I
was
think
like,
it
oh,
was.
finally people were like calling her out.
well, because he basically like says like you've always had like it in you to be this way, but
Yeah.
ever since Sam came around, you like
It's just brought it
Have
out.
gone
It's
dark.
brought it out
Yeah.
of you,
Yeah.
yeah.
Which I wonder if, because there are other film noirs where characters get away with it, but I wonder if they would have done it in like Britain, if they could have had a
Yeah,
different
maybe.
ending.
I don't know.
Because there's
Probably.
like British film noirs where they do get away with it. Like, I mean, The Third Man is a famous one. He gets away at the end. Spoiler if you haven't watched it, but I mean, it's a very famous Orson
Right,
Welles
right.
one with a very famous director whose name I cannot recall. Anyway,
No, I wonder if that would have. Yeah,
because they didn't have the same
rules.
codes. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we were much more stringent
Yeah.
than like any other country.
Yeah, that's crazy. I one thing that I wanted to talk about was apparently is his name Marty in the show? The fixer / friend of
Yeah.
Sam.
Yeah.
Marty Waterman, I
So
think.
it kind of shows this in the movie where he's kind of obsessed with Sam. He kind of tries to solve all of Sam's problems. I guess in the book, it's very, very heavily implied that he is totally
He's got the hots for Sam.
for
Oh.
Sam. And Sam is in the book and in the movie pretty much like oblivious to, like it's a how do you say that?
Unrequited
Yeah,
or
unrequited.
unrequited. However
Yeah.
you say it.
Unrequited.
Yeah.
Unrequited love. Just kidding. Sorry.
But I mean, it does show them in the movie. They sleep in the same bed, Sam and
Does it show them in the
Marty.
same bed, or
Wait,
it
what?
kind
I
of
don't
implies
remember
it?
that.
Yeah, it shows the one scene where they're both in the bed.
Yeah, there is only one bed, I think.
and they're like talking, and then it shows them get jealous a couple times and stuff. Like it's implied, but in the books, it's like,
pretty
It's
heavy-handed.
obvious. Yeah.
well, should we? Do you have more that you want to talk about with this?
No, we could go to the next.
I mean, it
one.
has a lot that we could dissect as far as like themes
Yeah.
and stuff.
Yeah.
I think it'd be interesting to, if we go on to the next movie, we can actually talk about how both of them relate too. So, Court, it was your turn to pick the movie that paired with Tabitha's one. Do you want to tell us about that? And
Yeah, I'll tell
your
you
process
my
of picking
process. So, like I said, I researched the film before I had seen it. I thought that Cole and Tabitha needed to know my pick like sooner rather than later, and so I was like, shoot, even though I haven't watched it, I'll research it. And so, because usually I like to watch it before I do research, but I researched the production, the reception from critics, and the legacy of it. And as I was doing that, one of the things that is like the most notable thing about the film is its subversion of.
Which do you want to tell us what the film is?
Well, no. I'm talking about this.
Sorry.
Born to Kill. So one of the things that's most notable about Born to Kill, like over and over again, that's mentioned, is its subversion of the femme fatale trope, and the fact that she's like the main, like,
Character
center
and,
of the
like,
film. And so I was like, okay, I really want to do a film noir because we're doing noir November. And I was like, I really want to do one that is beloved by critics because I wanted to see a good movie. And so I went to the 100 top film noir movies list on Rotten Tomatoes, and I just went through all of them, and I looked for critics' consensuses that mentioned the protagonist being a woman. And then I took all of those and I went through them and looked for any that mentioned subversion of the femme fatale trope. And that is how I arrived at the film that we watched, Gilda.
There never was a woman like Gilda, or a picture like Gilda. Columbia's outstanding screen triumph, starring Rita Hayworth with Glenn Ford.
That's what I told Val, and that's what you're going to tell him.
Making me deceive my husband.
I got some news for you, Gilda. He didn't just buy something. He's in love with you.
One man bought Gilda, another hated her and hungered for her.
I hate you too, Johnny. I hate you so much that I think I'm going to die from it.
Which was released 14 months prior to Born to Kill. So they're very close in timing. Definitely a different vibe. Like there's different like categories of film noir, right? Born to Kill is much more like seedy and like it's not glossy and like romanticized. It's very like brutal and brute, and it's a B film, and it's like it's not. It doesn't have like this shield of like romanticized glossy finishes and like soft lighting and like all those things. But at the same time, even though they're coming from such a different place, like one is like a big studio film that they put $2 million in, and then you have Born to Kill, which was considered a B movie at the time. Even though they're coming from such a different place, a woman is at the center of both films in a big way, and that woman does play against the typical notion of what a femme fatale is. So basically, to give a very brief synopsis, which one thing that this film was criticized for is not having the strongest plot, but to give a very brief synopsis of Gilda's plot, there's this man who is kind of this con man who's a gambler who basically cons casinos or other people that he's gambling with out of money. And the very opening shot is kind of cool. It's him throwing the dice at the camera, and they're like, you can tell that they're like big dice.
Yeah, did you notice it's big dice just to make it seem, and then it cuts to like regular dice. Yeah, that was kinda funny.
And he is basically doing that, and he is caught by the people that he's cheating, and they're basically like gonna beat him up or kill him or something, and this figure swoops in, this mysterious, well-dressed man swoops in with his sword cane and stops
his pointy friend. Which is what he calls it.
Yeah. And saves him, picks him up, and tells him like, hey, by the way, I have this illegal gambling operation going on. If you ever want to stop by, you cannot cheat though. And so the guy that he saves is like, okay. And then a little bit later, he goes to the casino, this illegal casino, and what does he do? We see in an actually pretty elaborate scene him counting cards.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Well, he doesn't count cards. He shuffles them in a certain way to where he wins. He's still cheating.
And he gets caught, and the guy's like, hey, I told you not to cheat here. And he's like roughing him up with his two like henchmen.
Yeah.
And then he's basically like, look, I can be like a asset for you.
I have skills, and I can, and then
particular set of skills.
And then he shows him, and he ends up just being this guy's right-hand man.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that character Johnny Farrell is played by Glenn Ford. He's the one that ends up being the right-hand man to the club owner, and his character's name is Balin Mudson, and he's portrayed by George McReady.
Yes.
That's a cool name, McReady. Come on.
It is cool. And then, but the real, and both of them, as they like make this agreement together, both of them are like, however, we have to agree to one thing. Women and gambling do not mix. And so he's like, so they agree to that. And then it shows him like he rises to the top position, and he's like, basically this guy's, they keep describing him as, what do they call him? They basically say he's the one who runs the casino.
Yeah.
They keep referring to him as like the boss, but I can't think of it.
Yeah, he ends up being there, I think, all the time, basically.
Yeah. But then, after like a trip abroad, Balin comes back, and that's when we're introduced to Gilda, who is
played none other by, the sexy lady Rita Hayworth. I was getting ready to say it.
But she enters with
that now
famous iconic scene
where she
flips
her
hair, auburn hair,
which I first
they
saw.
They say to her off screen, they say, "Are you decent?" And she flips her hair, and it's like a close up of her face and soft light, and it's like, whoa.
And you see her shoulders, and so you're like,
and she's like pulling the
like
strap back on her shoulder, and she's like, "Who, me? Decent?" And it's like she doesn't say decent, but she says, "Who, me?" And from then on, the film is like
it's centered around Gilda.
Yeah, she's the best part of the film.
And that scene's most famously in. I mean, I first saw it in Shawshank Redemption during
when the prisoners are watching
when they're watching a movie. That's how I first learned about this film. And then obviously we know that Rita Hayworth was the inspiration for Jessica Rabbit.
Right.
And so, come on, all the millennials, that's a big movie.
Right.
At least that was a big
movie.
movie.
And I can see like
Lana
Del Rey definitely gets, especially in her early career, got a lot from Rita Hayworth in this movie.
Rita, it's very like just her performance is totally for the male gaze. She's got all these scenes where she's being extra sexy and all that. So
yeah.
Well, yeah, and so basically, what's the younger guy's name? My mind's literally going. Johnny is like, I thought we said no women. Like, what's going on? And he's like, well, she's my wife, not a woman. And it's like, okay.
Yeah, so it's different.
Yeah, but anyway,
because I own her.
Yeah, that's how his attitude is. He acts like he owns Johnny, and he acts like he owns.
Yeah, they're
Gilda.
just like objects or pawns.
Exactly.
Kind of for him to use when he wants.
Yeah.
That's how he treats it.
without going into too many details, basically Johnny becomes obsessed with subverting his perceived infidelity of Gilda. Like he becomes obsessed with doing that in the name of protecting his boss, who...
Which seems kind of strange because it's like, why wouldn't he just try and stop her?
Right.
Or maybe he realizes that he really can't, I guess.
Yeah, it is strange. And then I don't know. The plot is, I feel like in a lot of ways secondary to the character of Gilda in this movie. Like, I don't know. People I think are confused by the plot. A lot of critics are.
Oh, really?
And by like the motivations of the characters and stuff. But
well, one of the motivations you talked about after watching it between Johnny and Balin.
Oh yeah. So a lot of critics have focused on the gay subtext of the film, where a lot of people saw the film as like not just a love triangle where both men are competing for Rita Hayworth's character, but actually a polycule type thing where it's like the men like the men and the men like the woman likes the men, like, and it like is really complicated. And you definitely can see it in the movie. Like there's a lot of innuendo and like plausibly deniable things that they were able to get past the censors.
Like the pointy friend that I mentioned.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like that's definitely a phallic symbol. There's like a time where, I mean, literally the context in which Balin picks up Johnny, he's like in the rougher part of town on a darkened street, and this rich man is here picking up a
young guy.
Like, yeah, definitely implied there. And then literally like, here's like a interesting bit of the script that I have pulled up. Give me 1 second. Johnny, you married him for his money. Gilda, that happened to come with it. Johnny, now that's a great way to make a living. Gilda, that wouldn't be the big pot calling the little kettle black now, would it? Johnny, I was down and out. He picked me up, put me on my feet. Gilda, now isn't that amazing coincidence, Johnny? That's practically the story of my life. I'm like, dang.
Yeah, she
You're
kinda
being picked up.
spells it out.
You're being picked up by a man.
Yeah.
That's happened to me before.
Yeah. So once you have that context, a lot more of the character's actions make sense. And Glenn Ford, in an interview years later, said he and the
McReady.
actor, McReady.
Balin.
Balin.
No, wait, no, sorry. That's the George McReady, the actor.
Yeah, that they both knew they were playing gay men. The director like denied it, but yeah.
Well,
Yeah, I
now
think
that
once-
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, once you pointed it out, because I was kind of focusing on other things, but once you pointed it out, it was like, oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's there. I think once you kind of see it, it's hard to unsee.
Yeah.
I wasn't thinking about it either. I think it kind of went over my head because I was trying to focus on the plot, like what's going on.
Yeah, the plot's a little...
Like, yeah, I was trying to figure out. I mean, you can kind of, like, when you're watching it, you kind of do see each of the characters, I guess, what they want. But then also, like, Balin's character is kind of interesting in what... Just his thinking is kind of funny at what he does.
Like what?
Just the extreme lengths that he goes
He's definitely the most...
to be mischievous and stuff about... And then he's like all this underworld things that he's like working with.
Yeah.
He's got all these patents anyway that you find out later.
He pays off
So-
like the government so that
Yeah.
he can have this illegal gambling thing.
Yeah.
He's secretly in cahoots with Nazis, like all this stuff.
Yeah, I also thought it was interesting how, like, in a lot of the framing, how they would frame him. Like, there's at the very beginning, I remember there was one shot where his back takes up like most of the
Screen.
frame, and then you see Johnny in it, and how it just makes him look. There's a lot of shots that
Small.
make him look, that make other characters look small, and then make Balin look just like huge,
Just like towering
and
figure.
domineering, and just like dark, like that one, which I don't know how they did it.
Oh, where
He
just
looked
He's
like
just,
he
like,
looked like a
black.
big shadow.
yeah, he's just like this abyss that's like
yeah,
his
and then
profile.
like
Pretty
Johnny
cool.
is lit up,
It
but
was a
he's
pretty
just
cool
like
scene.
black.
Yeah.
Yeah, that shot was
Honestly,
really
I
cool.
wouldn't be surprised if they literally just had like a cutout.
Oh.
I don't know.
Oh, cut the
I don't
film
know.
out.
I don't know because it's
don't
so
know.
black. It's like
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's really stark.
I'm sure they just did some crazy lighting. I'm sure to get that effect.
yeah.
yeah.
That's pretty cool.
This was a film that had a mixed reception in the U.S. in terms of the critics. Audiences loved it, but
Said loved Rita, baby.
basically,
I mean, it's pretty risque, so I
Yeah.
can.
put the blame on me.
Oh yeah, that song that she sings, and then like just her delivery, she's
But
very sultry.
In France, critics who I think understood the subplot a little more loved it. So it's kind of interesting. So
Yeah, I thought it was. I didn't think the plot was really that hard to follow along. I think there were like maybe some. You have to pay attention to some of the things
yeah,
that they say, otherwise you can miss it. But I felt like for the most part, it was pretty. I think I liked the plot more in this one, except for the ending.
oh yeah. Spoiler alert. Let's talk about the ending.
Yeah, the ending sucked. Just kidding, it didn't suck, but it was kind of a letdown, honestly.
Well, Tabitha
When we were-
brought up a good comparison. You talked about Wuthering Heights
Yeah.
because, okay, Holden, is that his name?
No, it's Heathcliff.
No.
How-
Oh no, I'm talking about what's the character's name in the movie? Who's the club owner? I'm so
Oh,
bad.
Balin?
Balin.
That's
Where
not
did I-
even close. Yeah, Balin.
Yeah, guys, I'm
Well,
horrible
even
at
like, I guess like all the characters are kind of like these Heathcliff
Yeah.
characters almost. I think especially Johnny,
Yeah.
where he's so like volatile to her and like so conniving.
And like denies her.
Especially
Yeah.
when he gets her, like when they
He basically
get together.
puts her in a cage.
Yeah,
And like what I
like
was
worse
gonna,
than Balin.
Yep. No. What I was going to say about Balin is Balin fakes his own death, which nobody knows in the film.
Yeah,
And after
except
the-
for the audience.
Except
so
for
it's
us. Yeah. And then after that, Johnny marries
Gilda.
Gilda, and he's like, she didn't realize it. He's like talking like, he narrates a lot through the film in that classic Norse style. And he's like, she didn't realize at the time, but I was basically going to do what she did to, like, he was basically saying like, I was going to get her back for
Yeah.
her infidelity that he perceived.
Yeah, which is also plays into that like homoerotic, like he
Yeah.
has to get revenge
For
for
Balin.
Balin. But then it's also like this Heathcliff kind of thing where it's like, because he was denied, he's going to do like all this stuff to like get back at them or to like show them how wrong they were. And so he kind of, I mean, it's like the dude married her just to get back at her.
Yeah.
And then especially because he knows once he has her trapped, she can't
Do anything.
do anything.
And-
She's stuck. Yeah.
And she gets more and more desperate. We see her like quote unquote acting out by doing like these like shows that are very like sexual, and like some people are like saying like, so she basically that was her way. A lot of critics see it as her way of claiming autonomy back, was like, okay, you see me this way, well, I'm gonna.
Which is like another playing into
Yeah.
the either the mad woman or the angel. Like, okay, so this woman, she's rebelling,
Right.
which in a way her rebelling is still appealing to the male gaze.
Yeah.
So no matter what she does, she has to, which I guess, maybe makes a bigger message where one way or another she has to appeal to the male gaze to survive, but then it's also her downfall.
Yeah. And interestingly, like we've talked about the male gaze, and we've also talked about the male gaze. No, I'm just kidding.
The homoerotic gaze.
No. But we've talked about the male gaze, and a lot
And the gaze.
and a lot of that's what I just said.
No, I thought. Never mind.
That's like when you
just
say a
cut
joke and no one hears it, then your friend says it.
Anyway,
No, I was meaning like the male gaze, like you're seeing a male. Both males are seeing each other.
Oh.
That's what I. So then I thought, oh wait, I'll do the other one, but that's the one you were thinking of.
That did not.
I think we
come
need to leave
across.
this in. I think we should leave this
Okay,
in.
well that's how I was thinking about it.
Okay. Well, basically, we talked about the male gaze. And actually, a lot of critics have argued that this is meant to critique and deconstruct the male gaze, even as it gives us as the viewers like plenty of eye candy. You know, it said. So I wanted to read something. Modern scholarship persuasively argues that Gilda is not a true femme fatale, though she appears to lure men into a fatal web of lust, deception, and criminality. This is an illusion. She is, in fact, sensitive and fragile, and as the film's ending reveals, faithful all along. The film therefore operates as a critique of the whole idea of the femme fatale. The bad woman identity is an identity that Johnny projects onto Gilda. The entire film is framed through his male gaze, a voyeuristic expression of his own sadomasochistic desires and sexual insecurities. Gilda's most... Oh, wait. And then I did want to read the last paragraph so we can cut that part.
Yeah.
But I just thought that was interesting because you and
Yeah.
I, like, as you were walking out the door basically last night after we watched the movie, we're like, yeah, that was very heavy-handed on the male gaze. Do you think it was, like, on purpose? And, like,
Yeah.
we were, like, discussing it. And so I thought that was interesting to like, read that critics think that was, like, on purpose. But the thing is, I think it flew over probably a lot of people's heads that it was, like...
Yeah, that it was
Yeah.
kind of showing that.
Yeah.
Which is like, I think Gilda's character is much more interesting even than Johnny's a lot of the time, because there are a lot of moments where she is real and she's vulnerable. And you don't really see that from Johnny till the end. But even when he is vulnerable, it's
insecure.
like, yeah, he's insecure, and it's not really, I don't know, it doesn't feel like as in depth, I guess.
Well, I kind of feel like she sees the game from the beginning.
Yeah.
Like, of the wealthy and the powerful. Like, yeah, we're their property, basically.
And you're trying to kind of figure out what
Yeah.
she's doing.
Yeah. And
you
she
don't
kind of
really-
like,
yeah.
she like hangs out with the staff and stuff. She sees herself as what she really is, basically.
Laundry.
Just a glorified
As we
member of the staff.
As we find out later that she's treated like laundry.
Yeah. And she sees that, whereas I think Johnny kind of, because he has, you know, he's blinded by his infatuation with
Balin. Yeah.
who I want to keep calling Holden for some reason. Balin, I think he's kind of blinded by that and by the wealth and stuff. And so he doesn't see the way that he really is just like a discardable property pawn for.
Well, like, even then, like,
Yeah.
the whole, which he wouldn't even realize because he doesn't know Balin is actually alive.
Right.
You know, it's like Balin literally left his wife and,
Right.
you know, his his right hand man
Right.
to take the fall for him because he knew that, you know, things were,
Because
the government
police
was going
were onto
after
the
him.
fact
Yeah.
that he had done all these shady things like working with the Nazis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that he had this illegal monopoly and even all.
Yeah.
So it's like he let his friend take the fall and his wife by putting it in his wife's name.
Exactly. Yeah. He's pretty Johnny is pretty unlikable throughout. And pretty horrible to Gilda. And so part of the reason why we all kind of thought the ending sucked is it very quickly like resolves that. Once he finds out, because the detective's like, you were wrong about her, by the way. I've been watching her, and she's literally committed no infidelity, and like, that's all in your head, man. And
Then all of a sudden he's like all super
and
nice
Johnny's
to her.
like,
which
oh, really? And
is
so then
like,
he's like, I'll try to reconcile with her, and like,
just so dumb.
she basically takes him with open arms. And
Well,
it's-
and
Yeah,
then
it's like
Yeah.
what?
You
Yeah,
have like all this lead up with Balin where
Yeah.
like, oh, when's he gonna come back? And then he does, and then it's
and
like,
then the movie just ends.
yeah, the
like,
movie's just over,
within
and
a
they're
minute
like, yeah,
after
they're
he's
together,
back,
and it's
then he's
like,
like, oh.
well, okay.
Then
So, yeah, I guess it felt like also like even, which I guess she didn't have a choice really, because what could she do? Even in all her rebellion, I guess, or in all her planning or whatever, like she still just has to end up as his wife,
right.
and
is-
she's still stuck.
just funny because like throughout the whole movie she's trying to do different things to get out of Argentina, which is where the movie takes place, and then everybody she meets is actually just working for Johnny.
Right.
and she really feels trapped. So yeah,
he basically does everything he can to deprive her of
which is
any kind of like affection. Like he is cold to her. He doesn't like.
yeah,
Like
he like puts her through way more stuff than Balin ever
Yeah.
did.
Like
he
truly.
he
Well, I
get-
think it's also because he can control her because she actually loves him.
yeah,
Oh.
good
Because
point.
she could have, I mean, she did with Balin, snuck out
I
and did
didn't
all this
think about
stuff.
that.
But
well, even when she snuck out on Balin, apparently she wasn't.
yeah.
Well, it was because he didn't really care about her, and he was like, and then Johnny cared about Balin enough to go and like follow her and keep track of her.
Yeah.
And then-
but I mean, Johnny
but
did
yeah.
the same to her, and she was even more trapped. so I
Some
guess-
people argue that her redemption, quote unquote, at the end, where she is shown to have not done all the things that Johnny projected onto her and ultimately reconciles with Johnny. Some people argue that this was necessary in order to fully deconstruct the idea of the femme fatale, because when you have a femme fatale in film noir, one of the kind of rules for it is the femme fatale must be punished, imprisoned, or killed for her transgressions.
Oh.
But by doing what they did, they showed like, no, she's not.
They should, she has a redemption
Yeah.
at the end.
Well, and the truth all along was she had nothing to be redeemed of.
She was
Like,
just being
Yeah.
herself.
yeah.
She was just trying to be real.
I thought one cool thing about the ending that I did like was that the employee, the bathroom attendant,
bathroom
yeah.
attendant
is
yeah.
the one who befriends mostly Gilda, but also you get in a sense like has a soft spot for
Johnny.
He saves them both by stabbing
Balin in the back,
Balin with his own.
pointy friend.
Yeah, I
Wait.
thought that was kind of cool.
And that was cool, but yeah, at the end it was like, oh come on, the big climax, and then he just gets killed, and then they're like, okay, let's go
Yeah,
away
and there
together.
isn't even like a big back and forth.
Yeah, it was
It's just so
it was
quick.
so fast. It was so fast.
Yeah.
It was too fast. It was rushed. If they would have like drawn it out a little bit, had to be.
I
a
think,
little more,
yeah.
maybe how to.
Like it should have been
Yeah.
over 2 hours for a
Yeah.
movie. Yeah.
Did you know that during the filming of this movie, Hayworth and Ford began an affair,
I didn't know
Wow.
that.
and that affair lasted until the 1980s,
Wow.
when Hayworth was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease.
Wow.
Oh dang, she had Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
Dang.
too
Hayworth
bad.
also would come to resent the role for how it typecast her as this bombshell, sexy goddess.
Yeah, sex symbol.
She iconically said, men marry Gilda, but wake up to me.
Rita.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And also, if we're talking about like kind of the legacy of it, a atomic bomb was that they were testing was stenciled. An image of Rita Hayworth was stenciled onto it, and the word Gilda was put on it, playing off of the idea of a bombshell.
Oh.
And she was livid because she didn't want to be associated with the atomic bomb.
Yeah.
And she was like, I'm going to talk to Washington. I'm going to do. And Orson Welles, who was her husband,
Oh, I didn't know
Yeah.
that. Okay.
Yeah.
Orson Welles said that she was so furious. She was going to go talk to Washington. She had to be talked down. And that she was convinced that it was a publicity stunt by studio execs, and that it wasn't just like fans of hers in the military, like doing a like homage to her or whatever.
Oh.
But so she had to be talked down, convinced not to like make a big deal out of it. But I thought that was interesting. Yeah.
Oh, I will say this. There is one thing for the female gaze, and that is Glenn Ford, because he's a hottie. They got like the two hottest people ever.
Yeah, Tabitha told me that while we were watching it, and I was surprised that you liked Glenn Ford so much. I was
Yeah, I
like,
was like-
I'm like, I guess I don't see it because I'm
I
a
don't
straight
know.
white guy, but I'm like, I don't see it.
He's just
Okay, if I
really
say this,
good
if I'm
looking.
being really honest, I thought that Tierney, what's his name? from the other movie.
Oh, Terrence or Lawrence, I mean.
Lawrence Tierney
Yeah.
was the more attractive of the two.
Oh, wait, and he played Sam?
Sam, yeah.
Even though Sam's like a horrible human being.
I don't know.
I just thought he had more like good looks.
Yeah, they were just kind of like, to me.
Yeah,
But,
anyway, that's kind of
yeah,
funny.
Glenn Ford, I don't know. Both of them. It's like, vavoom, yeah.
Yeah.
I think so now that we talked about both movies, I have to say I think I liked watching
Born to Kill.
Born to Kill way more, I think, than Glenda.
Gilda?
I thought Helen's character was way interesting. I liked the grittiness of it.
Yeah.
Sure, it didn't have some of the things that Gilda had, but I feel like I like Born to Kill more as a film. If I'm comparing the two, I like
I
Born to Kill
think
more.
For the first like 6/7 of Gilda,
Yeah.
I'm in complete disagreement with you.
yeah,
I'm
that's
like
what I'm-
totally like Gilda's
Gilda,
to me,
except for the ending.
But then the final 1/7, and you're like, what the hell? But,
yeah.
yeah. But and so because of that, I do like the ending of Born to Kill more. So I felt more satisfied at the end.
I think that's
Yeah.
probably why I
I
like the
think it
whole
is,
movie as a
yeah.
whole,
But
because
overall, Gilda, I think, takes it for me.
Yeah. I think, yeah, that's what I feel like too.
Which
all right, 2 against 1 on this one.
I did want to say one quick thing. Gilda's gowns are designed by Jean Louis. Or Jean Louis. I don't know how to pronounce it. Mm-hmm. Anyway, these are super central to her characterization, particularly the black satin strapless dress worn for Put the Blame on Mame.
Oh, yeah.
This dress was inspired by John Singer Sargent's Portrait of Madame X. And itself was a feat of engineering, featuring an internal harness and molded plastic.
Oh, yeah. When she's like dancing,
Yeah.
like the whole time, I was like, how is that staying on?
Yeah. Which she would joke it was being held up by 2 things. But the reality was it was this really, I mean, you get what I'm saying.
Yeah. Oh, what?
I know that we've been talking a lot about innuendo, but this dress was supposed to symbolically encase Hayworth's body in the same way that she was in a cage. Like,
Oh, okay,
as a
that's cool.
character.
And then you have at the end of that scene when Johnny's like, no, you're not going to.
oh yeah,
Oh yeah,
Zip
you're not going to
it,
get
yeah.
naked in front of these people.
Well, because it's a famous scene too, because it's a clothed striptease, and all she removes are her gloves.
Oh, yeah.
But
And her
audience-
necklace.
and her necklace, and the audience at the time like went wild for this. Like, yeah.
I mean, the way she does it, I mean, it's pretty.
I mean,
it
it holds up. I'll say. I felt guilty a little bit because I was like, dang, I know this is deconstructing the male gaze or whatever, but she definitely was a pleasure to look at.
Yeah.
And a captivating stage presence.
Yeah.
Like the moment where she flips her hair up.
Oh,
which is
yeah, that one is
like,
like,
whoa,
yeah.
what an entrance. Yeah.
Yeah. So, if you guys haven't seen these movies, go out and watch them for Noir November. And we're hopefully going to do another episode here soon, too. So we'll try to get some more noir films in for the year. But thanks for coming on, Tabitha.
Great choice. I'm glad you chose what you did.
And I'm glad you chose what you did,
Thank
Cortland.
You. Thank you. Thank you.
Tabby,
Well, should we rate them? We usually try to do that. Out of 5?
Okay. You go first. I'm gonna think about this.
Gilda, I will give 4 out of 5. It would get higher if it wasn't for the end. And Born to Kill, I think I'll also give a 4 out of 5. Which for me, those are high scores.
That's
Like
true.
if you know me
That's
and my
true,
history of
yeah.
rating movies,
Yeah.
those are really high. I'm very stubborn about like rating above a 4.
Yeah, I think I'd give Gilda. Yeah, if it wasn't for the ending, I think it would be a 4.5. But I think I'm at like a 4.
Yeah.
And then I think Born to Kill is like a 3.75.
Yeah. I feel like
See-
we're pretty much.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
So I'd give Gilda 4, and then Born to Kill maybe 4.5.
Whoa.
I don't know. I really
Whammo.
liked it. Yeah, I thought it was way more interesting, the plot and the dialogue and the acting. So a lot of it I liked. So, yeah. Go
One
ahead.
thing I wanted to say about Gilda before we go,
Yeah.
something that's very cool about it, is it was produced by Virginia Van Up, one of the only women producers in Hollywood at the time.
Oh, wow.
And she was known for taking hard to produce concepts and being able to render them in film. So
Oh, that's cool.
Cool.
very cool.
Shouts out Mrs. Up.
Yes. What's up, Mrs. Up?
Tabitha, do you got anything you want to plug?
Nope.
Ooh,
Where can people follow you on? Can people follow you on Letterboxd?
I want to plug something for Tabitha.
Okay, do it.
Oh.
Do
Can I
it.
plug something for Tabitha? I know that.
Yeah, I feel like I can't because I'm her husband. But yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Tabitha, first of all, has a great band already that we've talked about on here. But Tabitha, if you're okay with me bringing this up, has started in a all-female band called Dillery Huff. And they will be making, at the time of this recording, they will already have made their debut. But
Well, technically, I guess.
technically,
But not formally.
not formally. Their unofficial, under the radar debut will have happened. But for me, I'm hoping to attend their first show on Friday. So
Yeah,
Ooh,
this will be
yeah.
cool. So look out for Dillery Huff.
Yeah, hopefully we'll be able to drop a live album here soon.
what kind of music is it?
I'd say it's like no wave.
No wave? Kind of, and didn't you say it's kind of like organized improvisation? Like,
Yeah, this show
Kinda
will
jammy.
be. Yeah, it's like rehearsed improvisation. And then I think after this we'll start working on. We have some songs, but we haven't like fully fleshed them out. So we'll start doing that.
So hopefully see more shows by them, and yeah,
and
in
then
the Idaho area.
you both will also be performing in Boise.
Yep, we'll be playing at Tree Fort for Zap Pack.
Very
in
good.
And
March.
Blood Cannery.
And Blood Cannery.
And
Cole,
my- and my
Cole
thing.
is too modest. He won't shout out his own work. But very cool.
Thanks,
Going to be
Court.
sharing the same festival with Geese. I mean, come on. That's pretty
Yeah,
badass.
and McCluskey.
And McCluskey. We're excited to see
Yeah.
McCluskey.
And I know you guys know this artist less than I do, but Kishibashi is going to be there, right?
Oh, I didn't know
Oh,
that.
is he?
That's cool.
I thought so. Maybe I'm wrong.
I know he's been there before, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
But he might be, I don't know.
Very cool. Yeah. Dang it.
Okay.
I'm seeing that there's things that I forgot to say.
It's okay.
It's okay. You can follow me on Instagram at Foster's Home for Art and on Letterboxd, Sherbert123.
No, wait. Is that Sherbert? It's not
Yeah.
Sherbet.
No.
Or sorbet. It's
No.
It's a play off of her maiden name.
Yeah. Yeah, I would tell people my last name was Sherbert in
I
high
never
school.
knew this.
And then they'd come up to
Lore.
me like after like months and they'd be like, "Your last name's not Sherbert."
That's
Yeah.
funny.
Okay, we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for listening.